You're all set, Alexa.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexa Spigelmyer, and I am from Penn State University. And this is our first-timers webinar. I don't know if anyone can see it. I do have my webcam running, not so you guys can see the goofy faces that I pull, but just so that you know a little bit what I look like, so that, you know, when we get to the conference, you can say, that girl with the pink curly hair, that's definitely the one that we know. And if you guys have any questions throughout this, please feel free to type them into chat. The webinar secretary will let me know that I have a question if I don't see it, and I'll try to answer you as quickly as I can. So again, everyone, welcome. This is the First Timers webinar. All right, so here's a quick agenda of some of the things that we're going to go over today. We're going to start going over, you know, what SIGUCCS is, what it means, what we do, what to expect from the conference, how to prepare for the conference, a couple of tips and tricks that I have picked up and that other members have picked up throughout the year, and then a lot of time for Q&A. Last year, this webinar did not take the full hour, so we have lots of time at the end for any questions that linger. All right, so let's start with the SIGUCCS conference itself. Usually we have about 200 to 250 attendees every year. About 30% of those usually are first-timers, just like you guys, although this year that percentage is a little bit lower. We have representation from a ton of colleges and universities and international colleges and universities. So there's a ton of diversity, lots of different people, lots of different ideas, and lots of different ways of doing things. The job types that attend this conference tend to range all the way up from people who fill the CIO role all the way down to, you know, things like student help desk workers. So there's a huge breadth of expertise at this conference. So what are all these acronyms that I'm using or that I'm about to use? The ACM is the group that runs SIGUCCS and all of these kind of SIGs, as they're called, and it's the Association for Computing Machinery. A SIG, which is a chunk of ACM, is a special interest group, which is what we are, and our SIG is SIGUCCS, which is University and College Computing. So it's people who do jobs like what we do. What's a first-timer? That's you guys. That's folks who have never been to the conference before, and we try to give you guys a little bit more of a comprehensive start of the conference because it's a little tough the first time. It's a little overwhelming. And exhibitors are vendors who will be presenting during the conference and who have typically supported the conference in some way, usually financially. All right, so who makes up SIGUCCS? We have the executive committee or the board, people who, you know, adjust the direction that we're going, make very large-scale decisions, that kind of thing. We have our conference committee, and that's this year's conference committee standing next to the Denver Blue Bull over there. And that does change every year, so this year's committee is pretty excellent. I'm very excited to be working with them. And then another large component is our volunteers, and we'll go over volunteering a little bit later, but just keep in the back of your mind that anyone can volunteer, and it's a really, really, really great opportunity, and they make up a huge portion of how the conference works successfully. So now we're going to talk a little bit about conference treks. Keeping in with our theme this year of Choose Your Own Adventure, we have some treks that you can specialize in. Again, treks do not determine the types of things that you have to do. They're simply given kind of a categorization so that folks know a little bit about what they're getting into before they go to a session. So again, the topics focus on a variety of themes to fall into these treks. If you're interested in looking at them, the abstracts are available now, so you can start digging through and seeing if anything is interesting to you at a deeper level. The 5 treks that we have this year are training, documentation, and communication, service development and management, teaching and learning with technology, professional development and career advancement, and innovation. And again, I find it very interesting to not use these to pick my, you know, what I'm going to attend, but it is interesting to see what they fall into. And it's very helpful when I'm relating it back to my colleagues when I return from the conference. So what to expect, these are our plenaries. Our opening plenary will be David Rendell, and I may have pronounced that incorrectly, I apologize. And that will be Monday morning, first thing at 9 a.m. Usually these plenaries are very, very good speakers, very interesting. I don't think I've ever been disappointed by a speaker that we've had, so I'm really looking forward to this year's offerings. On Tuesday, we have the general session and awards. SIGUCCS Awards we'll go over a little bit later. And then our closing plenary will be Wednesday, November 9th at 4 p.m. And this is how we'll wrap up the conference. And again, every year these opening and closing plenaries have been absolutely amazing. So I'm really looking forward to them. And if you're interested in doing a little bit of back research, those are the folks who will be presenting, and so you can look into them a little bit. Some of our session types, we do have kind of some different session types at this conference. We have a standard presentation, so when you go to, watch your different people talk about their topics, this is usually what folks do, is a standard presentation format. We have some lightning talks. It's a group presentation where each member of a smaller group is allocated usually 7 minutes to make a concise presentation on a very specific topic that don't have to be related to each other necessarily. Usually they're given a couple minutes of Q&A after so that they can wrap up any lingering questions, and then 15 minutes for overall Q&A at the end. They're usually great. I love the lightning talks because they're so fast. People have to be very succinct with making their point. And with these longer presentations, although everything's very interesting, it's nice to have it condensed down a little bit and so that you can kind of rapidly learn something new. We have standard panel sessions. So these are, focused around a topic of interests. You have a group of presenters who, offer their insights and try to lead discussion around the topic, and usually they're about 90 minutes. And then we have our poster sessions. This is an open forum where topics are presented in a poster format, and the authors are usually next to their poster to answer questions in a one-on-one setting, then to dig in a little bit with people that are interested. This is a great way to get some really good in-depth conversations going. Most folks who are attending the poster session are very knowledgeable about their topics and really enjoy digging in. All right, so the SIGUCCS Awards. We have the two main SIGUCCS Awards, which are the Penny Crane Award for Distinguished Service, and this is typically within the SIGUCCS group. And again, the Hall of Fame Award, which is within the SIGUCCS group. We have a couple of communication awards that go out, and I believe these go out to outside of SIGUCCS, so it can be just a team of people who are at a university or college. Best of Category, Award of Excellence, and a poster session presentation. Again, this is something that we do every year, so if you continue to be active in SIGUCCS and you have a group of people that you want to recognize, keep this in mind because I think sometime around, spring or summer, they do open call for awards, so it's always good to recognize your colleagues. And there is a link there for more information if you need it. All right, what to expect. So this is one of my favorite slides that I do. And I picked that picture for a very good reason, and it's not just because I'm vain and like pictures of myself. What to expect from this conference. Networking is a huge part of what we all, I think, get the most from this conference. Making new contacts is a huge benefit from attending SIGUCCS, so don't feel bad about skipping a session to go and talk to a new friend about a common issue, which is where I get that picture. That's my old colleague from my previous job and I having a very, very deep discussion with a gentleman we had never met before who was filling a role that we were trying to fill at our university, and we had a fabulous discussion with him about his expectations of his role, his expectations of people in our positions in his institution. It was absolutely fabulous. I think everyone left very happy, and we totally only talked through 2 sessions. So again, really, really, really go out of your way to try to make contacts with people because you never know what kind of questions they will have answers to and vice versa. So how to do that, because making new contacts sounds very easy. It's not always as simple as it should be. We have a couple of different opportunities. One of the earliest ones is a 6:15 morning walk. So a lot of folks who are early birds or who like to get some exercise get together at 6:15 and go for a nice walk. It's a great way to chat, get to know some other folks. After that, they have breakfast. Breakfast is usually an open format, meaning that people just kind of sit down wherever they'd like and come in and out whenever they'd like. I challenge myself to try to sit at a new table every day, so I don't just go back to the same people. I always try to make new friends. The biggest way to make new contacts, or at least cement new contacts, is to hang out in the hospitality suite. We'll go over that a little bit later, but again, that's probably my favorite way to make new friends. Put away your technology. I am a terrible, terrible phone creeper, and so I'm always looking at my phone. Just try to keep your phone away and make sure you focus on meeting new people and getting to know people, and don't just kind of pull away into your phone. But again, I do it too, so it's a bad habit. Volunteering. Volunteering is a great way to meet new people because you're working with people side by side and you don't get to pick who you work with. And volunteering is also a ton of fun, but again, we'll go over that more. Make sure you approach people. Most people at this conference that I have met are exceptionally friendly and happy to get to know you. So always go up to people and just say hi, introduce yourself, and find out who they are. Try to find groups for lunch or dinner. And mostly just have fun. It's really easy to get a chance to talk to people and meet new people when you're positive and having fun yourself. So volunteering. Again, like we just said, it's a great way to meet new people, and it's also a really good way to feel like you've got something to do. I know a lot of folks suffer from kind of conference overload where there's so much to do that you don't always know what to do. So this is a great way to say from, this time block I will be volunteering and that's what I'm going to do. And I think often it leads to some pretty great friendships. You can volunteer before, during, or after the conference depending on when you're arriving and departing. So you can always check your schedule and line it up with that. And there are tons of roles in volunteering, so they can take advantage of all kinds of skill sets. You can greet attendees, assist with setup, answer questions, introduce presenters, and tons more. So if you're interested, please do check with our volunteer coordinator. So Newcomers Orientation. This is mostly for you guys, but there are actually a ton of people who have been long-standing SIGUCCS folks who come to this because it's so much fun. Last year we had a blast. The room was so loud that we had people walking by and poking their head in to make sure that everything was okay or to see if they could get in on the fun, something like that. So this will be held at 5:15 on Sunday evening. It's a great way to establish an initial group of contacts because you're all first-timers, so you don't know anyone here. So what better group of people to get to know than people who are in your same situation? This year, again, we're going to do another fun and exciting game of speed networking, which sounds a little bit silly, but we had so much fun last year. And we will be located in the Crystal Room C, at least for now, but make sure you check your conference schedule on sketch.org to confirm that. We have a ton of networking events at this conference, again, because networking is a big part of what we do. So Sunday we have our welcome reception. If you're interested, wear a shirt with your school name and logo to rep your location. And that way when you get to know all the SIGUCCS attendees, your logo kind of sticks. I don't know, it's nice to, I kind of remember sometimes, this person went to this school and I see the picture of their shirt. So it is very helpful sometimes. But it's mostly just a good way to get to know people whether or not you're wearing your school logo. On Monday, we have a happy hour at the end of the sessions. It's, again, a really great way to get a chance to kind of mingle and get to know folks in a more laid-back environment. And Monday night, they also have the culinary event. This event showcases Colorado wines and beers that are brewed in the area. I think they're doing a tour of the facility, and it looks really cool, but I believe it was required at registration, and it is currently full. So if that's something that you haven't already signed up for, you'll have to join me and the other folks who didn't register, and we can go do something fun instead. On Tuesday, we have the Four Winds Interactive hosted happy hour. I'm actually really looking forward to this. I think this should be really a good time. So while we get a chance to network with everyone and have a drink and maybe have a snack, we get a chance to tour the facility and check out what they're offering for us, which I think is kind of interesting. And additionally, on Wednesday, they've put together the Taste of Denver. So they can get a great taste of all the restaurants that are in the area. I believe they've chosen 3 to 4 locations, and each spot, I think, has something special going on for everyone. But this does require sign up at registration. If you're interested and you did not sign up, I'm sure that our registrar can change that if there are slots available, so just go ahead and contact him. So the hospitality suite, I mentioned this earlier, and this is personally one of my favorite parts of the conference. We spend all day, learning, applying ourselves, networking, building contacts, and this is our chance to kind of cut loose a little bit and have some fun. So every night from 9 p.m. until midnight, which is usually long enough so that folks can have dinner, go back to the room, relax a little bit, so that's why we start so late. Typically there are light refreshments provided. We're not sure about this year. But what we do is we bring a whole pile of board games that the conference owns and provides and just lay them out on tables and let people kind of have at themselves. It usually is a little slow at first while people get to know each other, but by the end of the conference, typically games are going strong already at 9 o'clock. And once everyone gets to know each other and people form, the games that they like and get things going, we have a great time. I don't know that I've ever laughed so hard in my life as when we've been in the hospitality suite. So if you're interested and you have the time, it is an absolutely fabulous way to get to know people and to have some good laughs. And you can see that picture there. They had karaoke last year, which was pretty much a riot. So how to prepare? This is kind of the actual nitty-gritty stuff. The first thing to check out is sketch.org, or you can check it out at the link below on the SIGUCCS 2016 website. It's a conference companion that's compatible with your mobile phones as well as PCs. You can create a free account so that you can sync it across multiple devices and your PC. And you can bookmark sessions and create a personal schedule based on the offerings that are available. I find this really helpful because, again, I know a lot of people suffer from conference wanderlust, where there's so much going on that you kind of get overwhelmed and don't know what to do or what choices to make. So I find that before I leave, I build myself kind of a schedule that of things that I think would be most beneficial. I can throw it away again later if I need to, but at least I have something to kind of default to if I get confused or overwhelmed. And it is available for all major mobile phone platforms, and it's really slick and really nice, so I recommend everyone check it out. SIGUCCS is pretty big on social media. We have some pretty strong groups in all of these. I know the Facebook group is pretty strong. We have tons of pictures on our Shutterfly. Instagram has been pretty hoppin'. I don't use Twitter and LinkedIn as much, but I'm sure that the communities are just as strong there. So again, please feel free to connect with us. We love getting new people into the group, and it's a great way to stay in contact with everyone, even after the conference ends. So how to prepare continued. Anyone with special dietary needs, make sure that you let registration know if you haven't already so that the big group meals can be catered to you. But for a smaller scale, if you have things like gluten intolerance, lactose intolerance, things that you need to avoid or things that you need to look out for, just let folks know before you leave for large meals. That way we can find something that can accommodate everyone. I know everyone I've worked with has been more than happy to accommodate folks' particular food needs. So just be open about it and we'll find something for you. So what to pack? Dress for comfort, and I chose this picture. It's a terrible picture, but I chose it because you can see the huge range of dressing styles. You've got a gentleman in a flannel and some jeans and some sneakers. He's comfy. He's walking. There's a couple of ladies in tights and heels and skirts, so they're a little more on the businessy side, and you've got folks in polos. So it's all over the place. Most people just dress for comfort. We refer to it as business casual, but again, that means a lot of things, and we have a lot of different roles being represented here. So no big deal, no need to dress up or down. Make sure that if you're doing anything active, you bring some comfy walking shoes. Often groups go visit sites or go on local tours. A lot of the networking events involve some transit. So just keep in mind that you don't want to bring your super duper nice looking shoes if they're not very good to walk in. Denver weather in November is to be determined, but will probably be chilly. Everything I see recommends dressing in layers, so make sure you bring lots of layers so you can accommodate fluctuating temperatures. Make sure you bring business cards. This is something that I fail at almost every single year, but it is so important. It's a really easy way to make and maintain contacts with people. Names and faces are easy to remember in the time, but very, very difficult sometimes to dredge back up when you're done. So if you can just hand out a business card, maybe even scroll on the back what you guys chatted about, it's a nice way to jog people's memories and make sure that those connections last a little bit longer. Bring your laptop and mobile device. Again, we're a technology conference, so we do love our technology. It's a great way to make sure you can still get some work done, do your thing, keep your SIGUCCS.org up to date. And also make sure you rep your school. So if you have a shirt, polo, sweatshirt, etc. with your school logo, not just for Monday night's reception, but it's nice to rep your school throughout the whole conference. All right, evaluating sessions. So you've been to all your sessions, you learned some cool new things. The next step is to make sure that you give them some feedback. Feedback is very important to our presenters, and usually we get enough feedback that it's helpful, but we can always, always, always use more. That feedback can be provided through SIGUCCS.org, again on your phone or on a PC, so whichever device you've chosen to bring. It can be done easily that way. So just make sure that you get around to giving our folks feedback, even if it's just as simple as, you did a great job, I learned a lot, or some constructive criticism, something like that. It's really, really important for our presenters to feel like they're getting some kind of feedback from the team. All right, some tips and tricks for the conference. This is some stuff that, this will be, what, my fifth SIGUCCS, I think, fourth, fifth SIGUCCS, and a bunch of other folks have been doing this for a long time. So these are some things that we've kind of dredged out of our brains that we wish someone had told us when we started. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think pretty much every person I've ever met at these conferences has been so incredibly friendly. I don't know that I've ever asked a question once and been made fun of or told no or ignored. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Please, please, please come to anyone that you think is involved with SIGUCCS with your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. And that includes, conference questions like where do I find this, where do I find that, or questions about, what do you do, are you working with this product? We're all technology people, and we all love to talk about what we're doing. Make sure you wear your name tag and keep it visible. Meeting this many people is completely overwhelming, and so being able to verify that the name that you think that person is called in your head is actually the name that they have is really, really great. The name tags that we have are usually very large and list the person's name in pretty bold letters in addition to their institution. So often I think of people not only by their name but where they work, and it's kind of linked in my head. So do everyone else a favor and keep your name tag visible, and then hopefully they'll do the same thing for you. Use SIGUCCS.org to plan your agenda. Like I had mentioned before, it's a really great tool to make sure that when you get overwhelmed or you're not sure what to do, that you can just kind of pull up your phone and say, oh yeah, okay, I had planned on doing this. But if you have a good conversation going, or you're making new contacts, or you're learning something new, throw that schedule to the wind, because it's more important to build these contacts and build these connections and maybe even find some really helpful information on a problem you're working at that another institution has been able to solve. Bring a lot of business cards. You'll be glad you did. We have a good number of attendees, and business cards go quick if you're giving them out. If your schedule allows, do please drop by the hospitality suite. Like I said, it's been referred to before as a riot. I can't even talk about it without laughing. And it's a great way to make new friends. I have definitely had some of my most memorable times at SIGUCCS networking at the hospitality suite. So be open to new ideas. Often, like I said, you have folks who have solved problems in new and creative ways in their institutions, and it's a great thing to be able to collaborate with folks and kind of share all those ideas. Get to know other newcomers. Again, there are 14 newcomers in this orientation, and I think we have a couple more that couldn't attend. You guys are a great group of people to kind of start with getting to know each other because none of you know anyone anyway other than folks who may be from your institutions also at the conference. So it's a good way to kind of get your feet wet getting to know people at the conference who are just as confused as you are maybe. Search common areas before non-conference meals. So meals like lunches or dinners that aren't provided by the conference. I know I and a lot of other groups will kind of go to these common areas and just kind of hang out for 5 or 10 minutes, just seeing if anyone wanders through, seeing if someone looks lost. So you can always walk up to groups of people with the SIGUCCS badges and say, hey, are you guys going to a meal? Do you mind if I join? Almost every time people have been happy to accommodate unless they've had a reservation or something like that. So if you're going to a meal with a group, try to linger if you can and see if you can pick up any stragglers. If you're not sure what to do, just go to those common areas and see if you can find anyone. Worst case, just come find me. I'm happy to facilitate introducing newcomers to longtime conference attendees or just to lump you into the group that I'm with currently and we'll go find somewhere to eat. I think last year we had 2 or 3 impromptu first-timers meals just because we all kind of lumped together and ended up in the same place and all went out, and it was very, very fun. All right, so that's it. Like I said, it's very, very short. Does anyone have any questions for me?
And Alexa, I'm monitoring it, so feel free to type a question.
Yes, and don't be shy. Any questions you have, I'm happy to answer, or if you want to wait and think of any later, that's why my email is there, so you guys can email me.
Hey Alexa, it's Lori. I've got a couple tidbits of information that I took notes about for you.
Sure.
Okay. Number 1, the Taste of Denver that's going on Wednesday night, you don't have to sign up for that.
Oh, excellent.
Yep, our plan is to leave after the end of the day. The way we've done this before, this has always been unofficial and it's grown the last few years. So this year I said, okay, we're making this official. We will have a location plan. We will also have a way for you to keep track of the group to see when we move from place to place. We're looking at 3 to 4 places that will have specials for SIGUCCS attendees. So last year when we were in St. Pete, it might be a drink special, it might be a certain amount off appetizers, but it's really fun to go from place to place and just try different things in the city where we're at. So no need to sign up, and we'll probably be using Twitter for one to make sure people can see where we're going. And also at the hospitality suite there will be refreshments and some snacks.
Excellent. That's good to know. I didn't want to preemptively lock you guys into something.
No, and one of the things I'm real excited about this year is the networking opportunities that we have every day. So like Sunday night, Alexa, you missed the call today. We got a new exhibitor, Adobe, who is adding extra budget to our opening reception. So that will be a little more extravagant. And then, of course, on Tuesday night when we go to Four Winds, you're right, that's going to be amazing. Really cool to get to see their offices, and I'm excited to see what surprises they have for us in store as far as hors d'oeuvres and drinks. So that should be a lot of fun. And I'm totally stealing Rep Your School. I just want you to be aware of that.
No, that's excellent. Steal away.
Alexa, there is a question. Is there a shuttle from the airport to the hotel?
Yes, there are a couple of options. There's no, at least that I could find, prepaid or free shuttle. If you visit the website, you can confirm all of this, but I believe the cost of the cab from the airport to the hotel was around $60. You could reserve the super shuttle service, which is what I've used in the past. They're very reliable. And I think it was only about half the cost at 35 or so. And I believe that the train has recently been running in Denver.
Be open. Yep.
Right, and it goes from the airport, I believe, to right pretty much outside of the hotel, a block away, I think, when I Google mapped it. and that is much more reasonable price-wise. So
Yeah,
those are the 3 options that I know.
Oh, Evan confirmed there's a commuter train that runs from airport to downtown.
Perfect. So yeah, those are the 3 that I know of at least. And I know that in the past when we've been arriving, the SIGUCCS listserv has gotten very popular because people will often, you know, shoot an email to the group and say, hey, I'm arriving at the Denver airport at this time and I'm taking a super shuttle. Does anyone else want to join in with me? Or I'm taking a cab. Does anyone want to split the price with me? So hopefully that helps.
It does. I'm not seeing any other questions.
All right, well, I don't want to waste everyone's time just sitting here. So again, please, please, please feel free to follow up with me. My email's right there on the screen. I'm happy to answer any questions, and that's just not limited to before the conference. If it's, you know, the 2nd day, 3rd day, and you have questions, please feel free to let me know. I'm happy to help anyone out as much as I can. And I look forward to seeing everyone in Denver.
Thank you, Alexa.
Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good night.